IVM.
Hey there, friend. If you're anything like me, then you have no clue what a mutual fund is, and your life might be subject to market risks too. So that's why you should probably listen to Paisa Vaisa by Anupam Gupta, who'll answer all your questions about mutual funds, financial planning, banking, all that money stuff. You know. Check out new episodes every week on the IVM podcast app and anywhere else you listen to podcasts.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Geek Food Podcast. It's me, Tejas, and today we have Jishnu.
Hello.
Hi, Jishnu.
Hello.
Alright, so we have a cool episode today, which is a Back to the Franchise episode, and we're talking about none other than James Bond, 007, MI6 agent. Is he an MI6 agent? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, British intelligence is MI6.
What's MI5?
I mean, it must be something else.
Mission Impossible.
No, MI6. Okay, so basically Mission Impossible 6 is Fallout, the last one that came out. And they could have called it Mission Impossible. So they called it MI4 Ghost Protocol. Or did they?
What?
No, it was called Mission Impossible 3.
You're crossing streams, bro.
So they called it Mission Impossible 3 and there was no subtitle.
Uh-huh.
And I think they figured out later on that the series is, if it ever continues,
Yeah.
they should probably not hit...
Put numbers on it?
Yeah, numbers on it, because if they hit MI6, then that's a bit of a bummer.
Isn't MI5 a thing?
MI5?
Isn't there a thing
sure
called MI5?
Something. Yeah. I'm sure. If there's a 6, there must be a 5, surely.
I mean, there's no 1, 2, or 3.
I'm sure they
Am
are.
I 1?
You are, maybe.
I don't know.
So I think MI5 must be something. But MI6 is the British intelligence.
That's yes.
And in these films,
that's all we know.
Operated almost like the MIB, which is with code names, with letters.
Do you think that's why it's called? Do we just
crack
stumble upon a amazing revelation?
No. What does the MIB stand for?
Men in Black.
No,
it's not that hard.
No, but don't they have a proper name also?
No, that's no.
They don't have one?
No.
Oh, I always thought it was
those movies are stupid. They're not going to put that thought into all that nonsense.
No, I thought it would be
the characters are called letters.
It's like S.H.I.E.L.D.,
That's a whole other thing. That's because comic books need that level of detail.
But they could have another name.
I highly doubt. I'd be skeptical.
What's a new one called? Mission, I'm saying. Men in Black International.
Yeah.
So it's MIBI.
Yeah.
That's weird.
It's like replacing MIDI. It's just like the updated MIBI.
All right.
Anyway.
Okay, cool. So we're talking about James Bond, but not just any James Bond. We're talking about Jishnu and my favorite James Bond.
I'm surprised he's your favorite James Bond. I wouldn't have guessed.
It's
I would have
difficult
pegged you fully for Sean.
For Sean Connery?
Yeah.
But so it's weird. I can't not love Pierce Brosnan, man. He's our James Bond.
Yes.
So you gotta root.
That's exactly why.
You gotta root for your guy. It's as simple as that. If we were born even 5 years earlier,
Timothy Dalton.
Timothy Dalton, and I love Timothy Dalton. I think he's hilarious and he's a great actor.
Sure.
But what do you call it? Pierce is our boy, and I want to take this moment to kind of maybe retract a slightly harsher sentiment I shared for him in our previous episode called Straight Up Action, where Dinkar and I and Abhimanyu, our special guest for the last one, we were talking about all the older generation, the basically dramatic actors who then became older generation heroes like Liam Neeson and Denzel.
Sure.
And I brought up Pierce Brosnan, and who I think tried to have a second run as another action hero. I mean, he's done the spy thriller, but he as a straight up and he had a film called The November Man, which I saw and was not good.
Which came out when?
2014. Something like that.
Okay.
13, 14,
right.
Easily. And or maybe 15. Maybe one of them. Okay, so it came out, it was bad, and I dismissed it. I said, Pierce Brosnan, blah, blah, blah. And I've not thought about Pierce Brosnan since The Foreigner, another movie which he did with Jackie Chan, in which he has a very silly accent. But actually his original accent is Irish, yeah.
Full-blown Irish.
But I kind of was going through a lot of clips last night to research this episode, and man, the feels were right there. In fact, I recommend a video that you guys should watch if you really want to get the feels again for Pierce Brosnan. Somebody's done a really cool edit, but to You Know My Name by Chris Cornell, and they've done it with a supercut, but with Pierce Brosnan, and that's all I needed to be back into Team Bras.
Cool.
He's the man, dude.
He's great, dude.
He's
He's my favorite for a reason.
Yeah.
I will say, so the thing about the older generation action heroes is that simply because of the time and because of the technology, because of the time that they were in and because of the state of the technology, the shooting style of action scenes were very different.
Yeah.
And I think one reason why some people like Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee are revered so much is because there was minimal camera trickery and you just had to just do the damn thing.
Yeah.
That's, big reason why you guys love Tom Cruise so much. Is
Anybody
actually
who's
does
doing
it.
like action these days, like in Daredevil, it's very visceral, it's very real. You can see them do it.
And to sort of ping pong off of it, I think a big reason why a Tom Cruise or action scenes in Daredevil work so well is because a lot of those are one-ers where there's no cutting and there's very little room for any kind of camera trickery and visual effects work, which is a feat on its own and a completely different art form on its own. But as amazing as, say, Daniel Craig is, Sean Connery, Timothy Dalton, Pierce Brosnan, for the most part, all had to actually do their thing. Camera's locked down, you just look at this dude and he's doing what he's supposed to be doing, as opposed to like really shaky camera movement, like cutting every like 1.5 seconds, a lot of close-ups and a lot of like reaction shots of a guy in pain, as opposed to the actual swinging of the hand or the bat or the whatever the hell it is.
The bat.
I don't know, it happens. There are some fun weapons in GoldenEye you can use.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
But anyway, my point is he is cool, so I'm happy we are talking about this.
Yeah, man, and also I feel like it's Daniel Craig's James Bond has everybody really invested back in the Bond franchise again, because for the same reasons that you mentioned, they've done it like way more grittier. They've there's homages to like Nolan films in them. They've tried to give it a more for the first time we're seeing a continuity in the franchise, as opposed to like every kind of like anthology kind of films.
Yeah.
But there is something to be said about the James Bond in the 90s, which is the Pierce Brosnan, and at least like crossing over into the 2000s. I think it's because we reached the pinnacle of like VFX and camera techniques and things like that. And he was the last guy to have all these cool gadgets and all the cooler cars and and the suave basically that has been stripped away from James Bond as we know now. I mean, Daniel Craig has suave, but he's more of he's like a bodyguard almost. Like,
he is.
Yeah, and he...
But I will admit, I was very skeptical when I first heard of his announcement. I love him. He's great.
He's awesome.
Casino Royale is
really
a beautiful
one of the
film.
best films, yeah.
But I will admit, when I saw him, I was like, that dude, he doesn't look a damn thing like Bond.
Yeah,
he looks
I know.
like a
James
gorilla.
Bond, yeah.
That's not my Bond. Not my Bond. But then he was hashtag, he could be my Bond.
Could be my Bond.
Could be my Bond.
No, but so the thing about Pierce Brosnan is that he's the closest... or at least the most recent version of Bond that we all know and love, which is the sexy, cool, suave, smoldering. Man, no one can do a smolder like Pierce Brosnan. He is really good at it.
But to that end,
yeah,
the one guy who I've always, not always, he hasn't been around that long, but the one guy I'd love to see, I know everybody's talking about Idris. Idris would be great, but Idris falls more into the Daniel Craig camp of the demeanor and the look and everything.
Yeah.
John Hamm.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
John Hamm is basically a younger Pierce Brosnan.
But the last time an American played a Bond.
I know. I'm well aware of this. However, the dude can rock a suit. The dude lives in suits.
Yeah.
He is hilarious in just the right ways.
Stuff,
exactly.
Yeah.
And he hasn't done the action
I
stuff.
always
I'd
thought
love to
that
see him
he
try
would be like a Bruce Wayne or something. He could.
That's
do
what I
Bruce
mean.
Wayne.
I mean, there's
the
some
suave. Yeah,
there's
I
some
get it.
similarity there.
He
right?
has the chops.
Yeah.
Other person, I mean, who I always wanted, but it will never happen, is Ewan McGregor, man, who I love. But he's a little too scrawny.
Little too scrawny. Yeah.
But he could do it.
He could be.
Or like a Fassbender. I'm sure we'll have this conversation as who can take the mantle on at some point. Considering that we're drawing in closer to the final Daniel Craig appearance as Bond. But let's do one thing. Let's talk about. Let's go through some emails and discuss those before we get into the franchise that Pierce Brosnan was part of. So, what do we have first?
Let's pick up where we left off in the Dinkar Hate Chronicles, as
Aptly
it's called.
titled,
All right,
yes.
thanks.
All right.
So it's, Sudeep says, "Hey guys, thank you for all the laughs in the last couple of weeks. I literally burst out laughing while listening to you guys on my way to work. Feel honored to be mentioned across 2 episodes by 5 of the Geek Fruit guys.
Now 3.
That's like
By
Chota
7.
Bhim. What?
What?
3 by 7?
Well, I know we just added 2 more. Like we are 2 more people, so we. Just
That's like Chota Bhim level of fame. Back to Geek Fruit. I really liked Abbas in those 2 episodes with Jishnu and Janam.
Right.
I thought he was really knowledgeable, and his It's tidbits, bro. It's tidbits.
It's tidbits, yeah.
Of trivia were a lot of fun to listen to. I felt almost everything he said had a point and not just a random banter. Will be good to hear him again. Safe to say, I don't have the familiarity bias. Ha ha. But yeah. Dinkar, I appreciate that you could take my previous mail well. I'm sure you may be a great guy, and I will hopefully meet you soon. Yeah, I'm not from Westworld.
As in, he's not just like a robot or an AI guy.
Oh, that's what he said?
He exists. I don't know. I suppose
I don't listen to anything Dinkar said. Obviously, nothing personal, just my POV as a listener. Cheers.
So,
thank you, Suds.
What's really interesting is that I think Dinkar is the most unflappable guy, possibly, that we know, right? Like, very
What
few
does it mean,
things.
flappable?
Like, he doesn't get perturbed by anything. Like, nothing really.
Oh, good
he
word
doesn't have
use.
too many
Amazing.
pet peeves, let's put it that way, right?
Not that he lets on. That's
Not that
the
he lets
thing.
on. Exactly, right? He doesn't have too many that
I
he
love
lets.
breaking him.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so I feel this is that.
This is dope. Of course it is.
In the sense
He's being
that,
publicly shamed.
No, not just that. I think what Dinkar loves is to be liked. I mean, so everyone does. But I feel like, I'm over it. I'm pretty over it. I think both of us can handle that.
Yeah.
But Dinkar's maintained a reputation for being a nice guy like throughout his life.
Pretty much.
And this is devastating.
Yes, this is a crippling blow. This is definitely a chapter in its own in his memoir.
And it's a chronicle now.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. We have, I believe we have one more email from long-time listener and writer, Shivank. So Shivank says, are there more podcasts like Wolverine Into the Night? Heard that its second season will come out soon. That's right. Some more trivia. Wolverine, it's called The Long Night, Shivank, which you should check out. It's on Stitcher. It's getting a season 2, but season 1 has been adapted into a comic book series by Marvel. So
there you go.
Yeah, so that's interesting.
Is it out or is it?
The first issue is out.
Oh, awesome.
And I feel like they're following the exact same script. At least that's what Abhimanyu showed me. Are there more podcasts like Wolverine Internet? Yeah, we have spoken about a few of them. Dinkar and I listened to a few narrative podcasts. There's one on Amazon Prime which got adapted from one called Homecoming, which Julia Roberts is in. But the original one, I think, has Catherine Keener, Oscar Isaac. It got a pretty good cast. Then there's Neverwhere. I think that's what it's called. Neil Gaiman's podcast with BBC with James McAvoy and Benedict and I think Natalie Dormer. Yeah. So there are a few out there. A lot of the good ones are on Stitcher Premium or Gimlet Media and things like that. So you want to check out those. But if you want to go old school, you can check out something that's really popular called Welcome to Night Vale.
Yeah.
Which is
that was just weird. I tried it.
It's weird. It's good. Yeah. I like it.
I got about 2-3 episodes in.
In fact, Wolverine The Long Night has a few Welcome to Night Vale moments. Like there's a creepy host on a radio station talking about the bizarre.
Right.
So check out these. They're all pretty good. That's what I have to say. And Marvel, I think they should be doing some more podcasts. They should have Podcast Universe. They should definitely make a Daredevil one because, and from Daredevil's perspective, because anyway, he's listening to everything.
That would just be like a Radio Lab episode for nerds.
Exactly, yeah. It would be great. And
awesome.
I think they could do like season 2 is coming out, so you never know.
Cool. Yeah. Great. I hope you learned something. I did.
Yeah.
Shall we take a little breaky poo?
Let's do this.
Breaky poo.
Hello, it's been another great week on IVM Podcast. If you aren't following us on social media, please make sure you do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We've been running this thing for the last few weeks, and we're going to keep doing it. If you are listening to an interesting show that you're enjoying, pause it, take a screenshot, tag us on your Instagram story, and drop us a comment, and we will post that to our own Instagram story. So I want to tell you about a new show that we're launching. It's called Ganatantra. It is hosted by Saryu Natarajan and Alok Prasanna Kumar. They discuss how politics goes beyond intrigue in elections and its implications in everyday life. I think you'll really enjoy that. Also, starting on the 4th of February, we're launching a new show with Ambi Parmeshwaran. It's called The Sponge Podcast. He talks about all the invaluable lessons he learned from his 40 years of experience in advertising. Speaking of Ambi, he's also on the Filter Coffee podcast with Karthik Nagarajan this week. They discuss the importance of data in advertising. It's a really, really insightful conversation, which I think you would enjoy. On the Seen and the Unseen, Amit talks to the legendary Tyler Cowen, writer of the renowned blog Marginal Revolution. They talk about his book Stubborn Attachments and Moral Philosophy. On How to Citizen, we're on Chapter 3, Why We Need a Parliament. Joining Meghnath and Shreyas for this episode is comedian Prashasti Singh. She brings her insight of growing up in Amethi and being witness to political theatre in UP. On the season finale of Echoes of India, we take a roller coaster ride through 600 years of Indian history and get a brief summary of the Gupta Empire. Look out for season 2 coming soon. This has been a great season of that show. If you haven't checked it out, you should check it out from the start. Now you can binge it. Here's what's in store for you on our regional language shows. On the Hindi film show Cinemaya, director Paromita Vora joins Swati to talk about her documentaries, her directorial decisions, and the politics behind camera. On our Marathi podcast Golgappa, Trupti is joined by actress Gitanjali Kulkarni. They talk about the charm of theatre and Gitanjali's NGO initiatives. And with that, let's get you back to your show.
Hey, we're back. We're talking about Pierce Brosnan's James Bond series. Well, it's not really his series. It's like Barbara Broccoli and who's the other person?
Broccoli.
Broccoli?
Is it broccoli?
Oh, I've always called her broccoli.
I think it's a broccoli.
And Michael G. Wilson.
G. Wilson.
Who are these people? Are they just like they've been producing these movies?
Yeah.
By the way,
I think that are they part of the Bond estate?
Estate? Is that it?
The Fleming estate.
The Fleming estate. Yeah, I guess we should do some research. I do want to mention this. We made so many errors in the last episode that we did. You guys should know this by now. We're not experts on any of this. Dinkar is like a key factor in that. Jishnu as well doesn't know how to count years or know which movies come with which years. I made like a ton of mistakes in the last episode. So I think we said something. I said The Raid, which is a movie, action movie. First we said it stars Donnie Yen. It totally doesn't.
Donnie who? Donnie
Yen, the guy from South. But we corrected that within the episode, and we said no, Donnie Yen is from Ip Man or IP Man, whatever.
Donnie Yen is
Ip Man.
I mean, Charat
Imwe.
Imwe.
Yes, okay. From Rogue One.
Right.
And
he's amazing.
He's amazing, yeah. And we thought that was the main guy in that. And then I said Gareth Edwards directed The Raid, which is not correct.
Not true.
No, but here's why I made that mistake.
Right.
I can see why, because I checked. So I said, oh, is that why Donnie Yen is in Rogue One? You said no. And Dinkar said no. You probably saw him. He probably saw him in The Raid, and but The Raid is directed by Gareth Evans.
All right.
So that's not that bad.
Who is
another director.
Great. Awesome.
So that's one thing. The other mistake that we made was saying that Nicolas Cage won the Oscar for Raising Arizona. He totally did not.
I was going to say.
He won it for Leaving Las Vegas.
He is an Oscar winner?
He is an Oscar winner.
Holy
of course
shit.
he is.
I've never heard anybody say Academy Award winner Nicolas Cage.
Because, really?
Exactly.
Yeah, he's totally
But he is Academy Award winner Nicolas Cage?
Technically so many people have won Oscars, man.
Wait, did he win in like...
What about
did he win
Suicide
in like a
Squad,
cast?
Oscar award-winning movie Suicide Squad?
Some people do, unfortunately. I've heard it. I have heard that. Yes, of course, I have heard that.
All right.
Because people are desperately trying to defend that movie.
I think the Oscar
has one card.
Yeah.
So they're like, let's play it.
Well, now it's got a new trailer for a spin-off.
It's out? The trailer?
The teaser's out,
Oh, jeebus.
But here's the thing. I think the Oscar... Nicolas Cage has done so many crazy things in his life that the Oscar is probably the least least popular thing he's done.
But did he win for lead actor? Or like ensemble cast?
Man, I don't know.
He won for sound design, didn't he? Just his non-verbal sounds.
But he's been doing well. He's got Mandy. He's got Spider-Verse. He's killing it.
I was never worried about him.
Yeah, we're never worried about him.
I'm not worried about the guy.
He's a national treasure, if you know what I mean. Anyway, coming back. So, we made a ton of errors. For that reason, I'm going to keep Wikipedia out here. And,
because that's a reliable source.
It's not. It's better than I am, for sure. Anyway, I just wanted to be sure about some of the actors, the director, things like that. And if I don't know something, I'm going to make it up, but then I will issue a correction in the
Let's
next
phone
episode.
a friend.
Correct.
Let's call Dinkar.
Yes.
Because
he's the one who suggested that he wanted for Raising Arizona, by the way. Anyway, so we've made a ton of mistakes. We're going to go forth. GoldenEye. What year?
Just really quick. I have a thought.
Yeah.
If we are now known for being incorrect, is it not possible that this show could be an interactive podcast in which we will give no Fs about facts and say things that we would like to believe are true?
Yeah, I do that all the time.
If our dear listener feels so inclined, you can call us out and in fact should, and we encourage it.
I like fan correction.
Yes. And then we will thank you. And you will feel better
dog.
about yourself.
Hit me, dog. I'm going to deliberately put some incorrect statements in this episode. Let's see if you're paying attention. All right,
go for it.
1995.
Yes.
GoldenEye.
Yep.
Spy film. The 17th James Bond movie. With Pierce Brosnan. New guy. Remington Steele. Is now Pierce Brosnan's James Bond. Did you watch Remington Steele?
Yeah.
Huge fan.
6-year-old me watching on my 6-channel CRT TV.
Yep. He used to come on Star Plus.
Yep.
Oh my God,
4:30-ish, I think, after school.
Yeah.
Man, that guy.
So good.
That theme song.
Amazing. Well,
Yeah.
dude, I watched the crap out of that. Like, my mother is like really into these handsome detective folks. So we ended up watching Magnum P.I., Remington
Yeah.
Steele, Knight Rider with
Yeah.
the Hoff, you know. So, yeah, Remington Steele, what a amazing transition from TV to film. This guy, he did it, man.
Yep.
Little known Irish actor at that time, became James Bond, and boom, your favorites, as in
What?
Bono and the Edge,
Oh, right. Okay, go on.
write a song,
Uh-huh.
and it's GoldenEye.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that, I was going to say.
Good song.
Which is amazing song.
Great song, yeah.
Do you have a favorite Bond song?
I do love Chris Cornell's You Know My Name. I've mentioned that before. Having said that, I think Tomorrow Never Dies, Sheryl
is
Crow,
so good.
it is amazing. It's one of the most well-composed songs. Like, all the 4 songs, including, I will say, Die Another Day by Madonna. You know I'm a Madonna fan. I love all... He's got like 4 of the... He's probably got the best... Pierce Brosnan has the best Bond songs collection. If any other... Sean Connery is the only person who'd hold... He did Live and Let Die, right? That's a good one.
Yes, that's not bad. Yeah, of course. But I was thinking about what's the one for
Goldfinger?
Shirley Bassey?
Shirley
Right?
Bassey, yeah.
That's great.
That's also a classic.
What does whatchamaface have? Friggin' Gorilla Man.
Gorilla Man?
Daniel Craig. So he's got Chris Cornell, he's got Jack White. which
Jack
I
White, Alicia
love.
Keys. Okay.
I friggin' love that song.
It's a great song. He's
what's
got
the last one after that?
See, then
I
he's
can't remember the last
got Skyfall by Adele.
Of course.
And then
That's
he's
amazing.
got
And
the
then-
weakest one,
which
which is
is?
Sam Smith's
Yes, Writing on the Wall.
Writing on the Wall.
Writing on the Wall.
You know what? And you know
No.
what's so stupid?
Nah.
They had
Nah.
the chance to use Spectre by Radiohead, and somebody's done an amazing
yeah,
edit on the internet.
I've seen that. That was great. That
And
was great.
it's perfect, and they could have closed out the
Yeah.
series with that.
Yeah.
But what a poor decision.
That was a miss. Like
what a
the Sam
missed
Smith
opportunity.
one was a real
And
miss.
they stopped working on a Moonshaped Pool just so they could do that song.
Aiyo.
So, you know what? Those guys.
But speaking of Jack White, though, and Die Another Day, we're completely digressing, but that's what we do. Another Way to Die from Quantum of Solace
Yeah.
is definitely in my top 3.
Awesome song, yeah.
I'm really bummed, like, because every now and again I keep thinking back, like, randomly I'll look that song up and go, like, man, the song is great.
Yeah,
and,
it is.
And
Underrated song.
I love looking up live versions of them. Like,
Yeah.
you should see Tom Jones doing Thunderball at the BAFTAs. Holy crap.
Nice.
It's
nice.
amazing. Like, and what I love about when he does that song live, and
Oh, I
like,
gotta check this out.
it's like 20 years or 30 years after the fact, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And he's old and grey, and you can see him like really having to work for it,
Yeah.
and like give those high notes and sustain them and whatnot. And it's just like, it's great seeing a grandpa like
Yeah,
being able to
and-
like,
but-
yeah, you go, grandpa.
But
He's
Tom
still-
Jones has always been a great singer, man.
Of course,
Like, he's got one of the best
absolutely.
textures. I think he's aged
Absolutely.
it well
He's-
also, right?
He's like
yeah.
friggin' him and like Paul McCartney have that same thing
Yeah.
going of just like, how are you still doing this?
Yeah, man, dude, I was just watching Cut Me Some Slack with Nirvana, the rest of
Oh, yeah?
Nirvana from SNL, when Sound City came out, and man, they slammed it. I don't know how these guys do it. Anyway, yeah.
But so basically, the thing is that there's no live version of Another Way to Die, which it always bums me out a little bit because I love to
There
see
is, though.
Jack White. Not
a good quality
not
one,
a
at
good
least.
one. Yeah. So that bummed me out. But then I was rewatching It Might Get Loud a while ago, and
Yeah.
I remember like thinking about this when I first saw it. Was that there's a moment where Jack White is walking the other guys. If you guys haven't seen It Might Get Loud, It Might Get Loud
Amazing.
is a brilliant documentary, purely made for guitar nerds,
Yeah.
about Jack White, Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin, and U2's The Edge getting together and basically just jizzing over each other's guitar playing, and it's
Yeah.
amazing. If you're
And
into
so
that,
cool.
it's
literally
pure guitar
them
porn. It's
with
just
three guitar players
Yeah.
just sitting with their guitars and playing stuff. to
and
each
so
other.
they basically swap stories and share licks and whatnot, and they just jam with each other, and it's great. And they walk each other through each other's songs that are some of their bigger songs. So there's a scene where Jack White is talking about how he wrote Seven Nation Army, and he said that when he wrote the song, which was ages before Quantum of Solace, he wrote that song. Which, that everybody knows the riff. It's one of the most amazing riffs. And he said, like, yeah, when I wrote this thing, I was like, man, wouldn't this be an amazing James Bond theme song? And then he
Nice.
made a really good James Bond theme song. But I was like, yeah, you should have just recycled that one. That would
Seven
been great.
Nation Army?
It
I
could have
don't
been.
know. I feel like
I-
every Bond theme has to have like a few phrases, like
Absolutely.
like note
Yeah,
sequences,
yeah,
which
yeah,
they use all
you
that.
need the voicing to be
Correct.
right. But I think if
Yeah.
you just take Seven Nation Army and put like a brass section to it, you've got a sweet Bond song.
Actually, yeah, it could be.
It
really
needs
good.
horns and it needs that
horns.
minor second vibe in that D minor space. That's all you got.
100%. I feel you.
Yeah.
Actually, White Stripes could have done a great Bond
Bond.
song.
Yeah.
Another one that Abhimanyu has been telling me is like a good Bond song. could come from like Queens of the Stone Age or something. You know, like something really like off beat. Yeah, it could be like you need a rock song.
You do. Okay, anyway, let's get back. So
GoldenEye,
right? That was the thing. Okay, so obviously it spawned one of the best video games of all time.
Yes.
Fun little tidbit about that game.
Tidbit?
Yeah.
Indeed.
With a D. So it is official. The game developers of GoldenEye have gone on record sometime last year. No, I don't know what year. Some time ago.
Yes.
Because facts.
Correct.
Some time ago,
No, you can say
they
whatever.
said that it is official that using Oddjob is cheating.
It's cheating, yeah.
Yes, because a lot of people were like, obviously when you played the game, it's one of the best multiplayer games. Half the fun of that game was during the loading screen, seeing who could get to Oddjob first. And then the other three guys are like, well, I guess I'll pick Bond and then the other two hot girls.
Yeah.
And that's about it. You know what I mean?
Man, what a weird game to viral out of control.
He was Tyrion Lannister before Tyrion Lannister. He was the one guy.
Who?
Oddjob. Yeah. Oddjob was just
Yeah.
like the one, vertically challenged individual in a very popular franchise that everybody was talking about.
That's true.
Kind of loved to hate.
Yeah,
You know what
because
I mean?
it's cheating because
Exactly.
'Cause obviously.
and it's
But,
ironic that
yeah, man, I it's like
It's now a thing.
I feel like that was like the original Counter-Strike even, like, like it was the original multiplayer game that everyone like kind of lost their shit towards.
Yeah.
Man, it's so weird that it's GoldenEye. Like, I don't think people in 100 years will remember the movie,
no, they won't.
but the game.
It is a great movie though.
It is.
And I would say my favorite thing about the movie is Sean Bean.
Of course, Sean Bean often becomes the thing that you love most about a
about
movie
most movies.
that Sean Bean is in.
Yeah.
Because one does not simply like not love Sean Bean. And safe to say, what I really loved about this movie now, in retrospect, is that they were interested enough in changing the paradigm of a Bond film to include, this movie, the villain is a rogue agent. It's like it's the first time I think we're seeing at least in the franchise, I'm not sure, but this guy is 006, which is really weird and interesting because I remember when they introduced Bond, it's like, he's it's just like a, slow introduction, then suddenly he has like a quirky line, he's upside down and shoots somebody in a bathroom, and he comes out and then he meets Sean Bean immediately, who addresses him, and he addresses him as 006. So for me, that was like, oh cool, now that I think about it, I was like, no other Bond movie has done that so brazenly, where they've made like somebody from MI6 itself like be the villain in that sense. So I thought that was always cool about the film. Having said that, I watched a bit of it yesterday. The sound effects are so poor.
Yeah.
It's like a Bollywood movie.
Yeah.
It's like
But that's
when
product of the
they
time also.
but when they phased out the dish cow sound, okay, it was only after this film.
Sure.
Like, so when they shoot, there's like like it's
Which is,
there.
but that's also now
Yeah.
like it's part of the oral vocabulary of the game as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of like it is.
enough.
Those sounds are to GoldenEye what
Yeah, exactly.
like a TIE fighter screech to a
Star Wars film.
to a Star Wars film. Like you need those sounds.
I always felt like GoldenEye is a good setup because of the story. And obviously Famke Janssen, who I love. She's Jean Grey.
just
I mean, she's
friggin-
too hot.
Yep,
And it's
yep,
ridiculous.
yep.
But for me, I feel like Pierce Brosnan only kind of... I think he's still searching for what he wanted to be. Like, he's a little rougher around the edges in this first film.
It's his first one.
Because he's not as like... I feel like as he gets older in the franchise itself, he just gets like lesser and less like give a shit like kind of vibes, like Zero F's kind of vibe. But the first one, he's still like young Bond, and his face is different, man. I was watching after a while. He's like young in this, man. It's crazy.
He's
like by the time you see Die Another Day, which was what year? 2002?
2002, I think.
Man, that's like only 7 years, but like he's like aged a lot in that. He took it well. Like he led a comfortable life in that time.
But that's because also again because of the times and because of like how like just media worked. I think those 7 years of Pierce Brosnan's reign would have been a lot more intense than Daniel Craig's reign because of the fact because I think that like just because of the times, like that if you got the media's attention and you were the biggest thing, you would remain the biggest thing for a lot longer than today. Like right now, like so let's say for example, right, when they announce the new Bond, whoever it is, right, a year or 2 years from now, that guy or that girl, whoever it is, they're gonna be the hottest thing for like a week, and once that week is done, there will be something else that completely takes over the diaspora.
Absolutely,
you know what I mean? But back then, like I'm talking about mid-90s, like if you got the word out just to like announce that we have a new James Bond, here's his picture, I know you haven't heard about him, I need to explain to you who this guy is. That takes a lot of effort. Therefore, eyeballs will remain on him.
You're right.
You know what I mean? So I feel like it'll age you. That would have aged him a lot more than how much it's going to age whoever's the next guy right now.
But I
just
feel
because it's not going to matter for as long.
But I think the only thing that is still harder today is that with like Instagram and the fact that like we were speaking of, all the actors doing their own stunts and doing all that stuff. Like Daniel Craig has to stay in really, really good shape. It was not a requirement, I feel like, back in like it was when Bruce Willis takes off his shirt and like Die Hard and stuff, he's not like ripped. I mean, he's got like muscle.
Sure.
But he's not like jacked.
Yeah,
like how
now
they are
everybody
now.
wants, if you're not Thor, you're nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but back then it was like a different, like the dad bod was like, okay.
It was tolerable.
If you got a dad bod, it's fine. Just as long as you're tall and you can like lift heavy things. It doesn't matter how you look, as long as you can lift the heavy thing.
And be cool. I think that was like the mainstay of this Bond, is just that he doesn't have to like, he has to have like cool like hair and just deliver the lines.
You have to look cool, now you have to look intimidating. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like Pierce Brosnan doesn't necessarily look intimidating.
But he's so cool.
But he's the coolest.
He's the coolest.
But Daniel Craig looks a hell of a lot more intimidating. Right?
He's bodyguard Bond.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, he's
so
Salman
it's just
Bond.
a different
I mean, I don't want to put him in
he's
that.
Great. Let's not do that.
Daniel Craig is awesome.
Okay. So GoldenEye is great. Also, one more thing about GoldenEye, which still sticks me to this day. Every time I pick up a pen and I do a little twirly twirl, it's exclusively because of Boris. There were so many hours spent in school when I was dozing off in class, and I didn't feel like paying attention, so I would be thinking about GoldenEye and Boris and trying to do the pen thingy, and I can only do it like 5 or 6 times.
Alan Cumming, right?
Yep. Yeah. I just can't.
Which is weird because and Alan Cumming plays Rush in this. Famke Janssen also there, and they reunited in X-Men 2. X-Men United.
Yeah. Ahoy.
Love it. Love those things.
Whatever happened to Natalia?
Yeah,
she was good.
I don't even know the actress's name.
She's not important
in the face of Famke.
Doesn't matter. Well, that's right. But I mean, she was great. I liked her.
Senya on a top.
I liked her a lot.
Yeah.
I wish. Do
you always like the other Bond girl? Like
the other Bond girl?
Like as in they're always
the villain girl or the good
one
girl?
has to be a villain. One has
this
to turn out to be
game. All right, so let's break it down. So GoldenEye has
as villain, henchman, Bond girls, right? That's how you would break down the hierarchy of
who's the henchman in GoldenEye? Henchman girl or just henchman?
Like the main guy.
So Boris being henchman.
Yeah.
Wait,
but he's not a henchman.
Hang on a second. Are you talking about like which girl did you like more? Are you talking about like just which character was?
No, I'm talking about so we'd have to
because I have no feelings for Boris in that way.
Exactly.
He's just like my pen dude.
If we go through, he's part of your childhood.
He is.
I'm saying if we go through the entire ranking of all, at least in the 4 James Bonds, which we will do eventually at the end of this episode.
Of course.
We're gonna rank. Which Bond girl?
Yeah,
we'll do it like playoffs.
Exactly.
Like from each movie there too, so you kind of like, and then we'll get to one. Yeah. All right, so let's do that. So I'm saying from this movie,
there's Natalia and Xenia. So there's Famke and what's her face,
and so obviously
Famke wins.
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
but we're not talking about henchmen. We're just talking about
I'm
the
saying no. There's always one main dude. Like in Die Another Day, there's I can't remember his name. Diamond Face guy.
Yes, Diamond Face man. Ponytail, white hair.
No. He doesn't have a ponytail. He's bald and he's got a diamond face.
Wait,
I can't remember. This is why facts.
Let's look at facts.
Facts. This is my point. In this one, yeah, man.
What?
No.
Doesn't have a name?
Oh, by the way, here's the other person we forgot in this movie. Hagrid.
Rubeus.
Yes. Robbie Coltrane.
He was amusing. He doesn't.
Also, what does he do? He gives him the gear. Is he like a Q in this?
No, he's not a Q. He's a middleman between. He's an arms dealer.
He's an arms dealer.
He is the middle. He is literally what's his face's character from Last Jedi. He is Benicio. Yeah, he's DJ. He's Benicio's character. He's the guy.
But he doesn't.
But he's crooked. I mean,
he's crooked. But he doesn't.
He double crosses him ish in that he's like, I will kill you because I don't like you. But then Bond's like, but I'm Bond. You can't kill me. He's like, okay, I guess I won't kill you.
Yeah.
So take
tries,
my gun.
But and then he hangs him upside down.
But we'll get to Rubeus because he gets better. We're on a first name basis, bro. That's me and Rubes.
Yeah.
So he comes into his own, I think, in World Is Not Enough. That's one of my favorites.
Absolutely,
So we'll get that.
Yeah.
But okay, so let's move on to what's the next one?
Tomorrow Never Dies.
Friggin'.
This is my favorite.
Woo. Also,
this is my favorite.
That video game.
I have not played this one.
That video game was great. So the N64 game obviously is iconic.
You had an N64, is it?
I didn't, but my friend had, and that was like, he brought it over and stuff. But so the N64 game is a classic, no argument there. But Tomorrow Never Dies was great because it was one of the first third-person perspective RPG games that I thought like
how we're approaching the franchise first through the game and then through the movie.
Priorities, bro.
Correct.
So, because I spent a lot more hours playing the games than I did watching the movies.
Interesting. Okay, cool. Yeah.
So that game was basically a proper scene-by-scene playthrough of the movie.
That's cool.
GoldenEye tried.
GoldenEye is
Attempted,
but it's all about
but let's
the
be real, it's
multiplayer,
multiplayer,
correct,
right there.
yeah.
Nobody cared about the campaign. The campaign was a little
Yeah.
But the multiplayer is what did it. So this game was great. I liked it a lot because it was able to actually do the movie well, and much like every video game based on a movie from the 90s, you finish the mission and then they play a cutscene from the film. And
oh, sweet. So
yeah, they play like a little bit of it. Like, for example, the movie begins with him stealing a plane from that Russian base.
Yes.
So you do that whole thing, and then you take off, and then it cuts to him, jumping out of the plane with the... I've always wondered about this. Why the hell would a spy have a parachute with a giant British flag on it?
Because he's Bond, and he's
bro.
For England, James?
Yeah.
No, for me.
But
that's why.
But branding shouldn't go that far. You know what I mean? You're a spy.
It's fine.
The branding is black. The branding is anonymity. Anyway, great movie, great game.
Dude, amazing movie for multiple reasons. Also, just correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Was Pierce Brosnan's franchise run the first people to change from the Aston Martin to the BMW?
That could very well be.
Yeah. Because...
Was that in Tomorrow Never Dies?
In GoldenEye, I remember he gets a BMW, right?
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Which is... doesn't it get split in half in this one? Or is that world is not enough?
Facts.
Yeah. Facts. No, so here's the thing. Tomorrow Never Dies, albeit has one of my favorite Bond car sequences.
Oh, car sequence. Which one?
It's the one where he's not even in the car because he has
remote
a
control.
phone.
He has a phone. That's
Dude,
right. Touchpad at that. It's
so
a touchpad.
good.
And it's one of those
So
phones
good.
that like opens up sideways.
Yeah.
Right? It's like oversized.
And he just sits.
great.
So first he controls it from his phone.
Yeah.
Then he dives into the backseat and he's driving it from his phone.
Yep.
Holy shit.
He literally
Apple,
is backseat driving.
Google, make this a thing. Oh my God, someone. It's so cool. It's like one of my favorite scenes.
It is one of the best scenes.
He's so cool, man. Like he's just got he's got a vibe.
They really took it up a notch. Also, when you think about it, I think that the whole gadget thingamajiggy setup premise for a lot of spy films that have happened since the early 2000s.
Were there a lot of gadgets in the previous Bond films also? Like,
there were, of course there
not
were.
so digital, I suppose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're very much so, like exploding pens, the smoke pellet thing, and
something
this and
in the
that.
shoe.
Yeah, exactly. They've always been there. I mean, like Oddjob had a hat, for example.
Yeah.
So I mean, like,
Yes.
anything's possible.
Yes.
But I would say, just because I recently watched my beloved Rowan Atkinson's Johnny English 3.
You saw the third one?
Of course I did.
It's out on print?
Yeah.
Gotta watch it. What is it called? Johnny English Reborn, is it?
Sure. I can't even remember.
Okay.
It's the third one.
All
whatever
right.
it is.
Cool.
But still consistently, all the gags from any spy movie, any sort of parody spy movie or anything that's sort of
Austin
like
Powers,
clearly, obviously
Spy
homage
Kids,
to that,
yeah.
I think is far more rooted in a Pierce Brosnan aesthetic than anybody else's. Just
Very
simply
definitive that those
because
gadgets.
like when for Daniel Craig, whenever he had his Q moments, they were always a lot more.
It was very grounded,
subtle and surprising. Like
subtle.
I'd be at a random, like I'm at an art gallery staring at a painting, and then like remember that scene? I think it was a Quantum, or I forget which one it was. But there's one.
Quantum of Solace.
I think it was Quantum. Like he's just sitting in an art gallery, and then Q shows up, and you think he's just talking to some random dude.
But
and he's like,
yeah.
"I'm actually here to give you this pen." He's like, "Oh, okay. Well, I guess that's the scene.
And,
You're just giving me a pen.
and,
where's the pomp and circumstance?
No, and
Where's
here's the
show?
thing: they spoof the very act of him giving him gadgets. Like he says, "Oh, but what's the cool feature about it?" He's like, "No, there's nothing. It's a pen."
Or it's a gun that only you can shoot. It's
yeah,
like
your
that,
fingerprints. And
that's
stuff.
not flashy at all.
But yeah, it's not. It's supposed to be very.
So it's funny because
like in Casino Royale, there aren't any gadgets, right?
At all.
Like it was famous because he doesn't say the James Bond right until the end.
Right.
It was also famous because there were no gadgets. It was very stripped down kind of.
Yeah, I think that was also
Bond.
the point. Like he doesn't need gadgets.
He doesn't need gadgets. He is the gadget.
Right. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Another great thing I want to say about Tomorrow Never Dies is probably one of my favorite premises for the villain's
Yes.
plotline. The whole media
It's
taking
very
over the...
Watchmen, actually,
Yeah,
if you think
if you
about
think-
it,
yeah,
because
sure.
it's very media. Like he's controlling how
Yeah.
people
Perceive.
view discourse and
Yeah,
things
yeah.
like that.
He's like,
And,
I won't do anything. I'll just let everybody kill each
dude,
other.
Jonathan Pryce, do the High Sparrow.
Yep. So good.
Screwing shit up there as well.
Yeah.
Like well before Game of
Yeah.
Thrones. Amazing. Love
Just
it.
a great
He's such
premise.
a good actor, man. I love him. He's so
Okay,
good.
so who were the girls in that one? It was Michelle
So,
Yeoh and who's
Michelle
the other one?
Yeoh.
Who's the
Love
other
Michelle Yeoh. And dude, Terry Hatcher, dog.
Right.
She plays Paris Carver.
Desperate Housewife.
Yeah, she's Desperate Housewife.
What happened to her?
And
Jesus.
what else was Terry Hatcher in before? Oh, she's Lois Lane.
Yes.
Yes. Ah, there we go. We're getting to the bottom of this now.
Facts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Terry Hatcher or Michelle Yeoh?
Tough one because I love Terry Hatcher. She reminds me a lot of like that Marissa Tomei, Lon
Yeah.
Graham, Gilmore Girls kind of
Just,
like
she's this,
that
era.
like hot mom kind of. Well, that
Yeah.
time she was not really a mom. She was quite young.
Yeah.
But like now she's like she's a desperate housewife.
Yep.
Yeah, that was the whole premise. But it's a tough one because I love Michelle Yeoh in the film, and she turns out to be the good girl.
Mm-hmm.
But we have a thing for the bad girls. Actually, Paris Carver's not bad in the movie. She's
conflicted.
She's conflicted, and she kind of bites the bullet early in the film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which is a damn shame.
I'll give it to Terry Hatcher.
She's cute.
Are we keeping score?
But I'll tell you why Michelle Yeoh
No, we're
gets
not. Okay.
some points, though, if we are keeping a score. She has that amazing bike chase on the
Yes,
BMW bike.
That's really all I think about is like...
Is too good.
Yeah.
And in Hong Kong, if I'm not mistaken, something like that.
Yes.
So Macau, one of those things. No,
Wow.
Macau is no, sorry.
No?
No.
Philippines.
Dude, why though?
Indonesia.
We're doing this all
Southeast
wrong.
Asian countries.
Production. I'm just going to look through the Wikipedia.
Laos.
Writing, locations, casting, filming. Here we go. They are Star Wars. What?
Nobody cares. It's fine.
Ho Chi Minh.
Oh,
Oh, no,
Vietnam.
No, Bangkok. That's where they shot.
Oh.
But I don't know if that's what they portray in the film.
Ho Chi Minh sounds
No, they were
familiar.
going to, they didn't.
Oh, well
But-
then. Okay,
but yeah.
cool. Great
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
All right, we should move on.
So one more thing about
Okay.
Tomorrow Never Dies. Sheryl Crow's theme
Yes.
in Tomorrow Never Dies.
Great.
If you check the YouTube comments on that song, nobody likes the song.
Really?
Because there's another Tomorrow Never Dies, which is at the end of the film.
Huh.
Which is the same title but different song.
By
and
who?
people
Yeah.
seem to love that song more. It's a more classic Bond. Very, Thunderball, that era.
Sure.
But Tomorrow Never Dies by Sheryl Crow
It's
is one of the
great.
most intricately composed
Yeah.
songs. It's got so many different changes.
Yeah, it's
As
great.
musicians,
It's great.
we love that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
it's a beautifully scored song. So what the fuck, internet?
That's on you. Why are you
Get
looking
hold
at-
of yourself.
Why are you looking at the comments, bro?
I don't know.
All right, move on.
Great song.
Okay, next
Love
one
Sh- love you,
is,
Cheryl. Love you, Cheryl. Sorry. Let's move on.
World is Not Enough.
Yes.
I might go so far as to say that this is my favorite
Bond film out of the Pierce
not-
Brosnan? Or team?
Bond girls.
Oh, Bond Girls.
Yeah.
It's got
Electra and Christmas. What's her face? Denise Richards and Sophie
Marceau. Sophie Marceau is so cute.
Where else
what
have we seen
the
her?
hell happened?
Where else have we seen
No,
her?
you're thinking of people who look a lot like Sophie Marceau, but
But
are
that's
not.
what I mean. That is why I'm asking the question.
We're
because
going
I
to
do not
find
know
out.
where.
We're going to take a break, and then we're going to find out where Sophie Marceau is from.
Family businesses get a bad rap, and one time they were looked down on for getting rich, for being too ambitious. Today they're still looked down on, but for not being ambitious enough. Not agile enough, not modern enough, too traditional in their mindset. The biggest brands and business houses in the country started out as humble family businesses. It's the way India has done business. Join Sonu Bhasin in conversation with stalwarts of Indian family businesses on the Inheritors podcast series by Bloomberg Quint. Discuss the highs and lows, the needs and pressure points of building a business legacy that spans generation.
We're back. We're talking about James Bond, but particularly Pierce Brosnan's role as James Bond. We're on The World Is Not Enough. I want to say something. This film theme song, The World Is Not Enough by Garbage. Great fucking song.
Great.
Such a
So
good
great.
song. How does he?
So great.
They knocked him out of the park back in the 90s, man. You think this new James Bond will have like an 808 and like be like very in?
Oh, it's going to be
today's-
a Kendrick. It's going to be a. I will put money on. It's going to take off Black Panther. It's going to take off that vibe.
The vibe?
Yeah, I'll put money on.
I think it'll be electronic. Like I think it will definitely
especially if it's Idris. It's going to be like
have.
covered
Idris will
in that
probably
kinda
do
like,
it because, like we keep
Yeah,
mentioning,
yeah,
he's on the
yeah.
Coachella lineup. Oh,
my
good.
They're
Yeah.
gonna make James Bond great again.
But
recontextualizing.
He's so good though.
They're going to recontextualize James Bond.
No, I think this has to be the final one. This has to be like Logan for.
I don't think so, because the thing is, it's a cash cow. People are not going to stop watching these movies, and so I think all they need to do is to make it woke.
But don't they need a fitting finale for him? You can't.
Of course they
maybe
do.
They can start a new franchise with that wokeness.
Nah, I'm putting money on it. Like it's too big a cash cow to kill. So I just think that they'll stagger it more. They'll do more with like some sort of.
So may I ask a question?
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think, and this is my theory, they will introduce the new James Bond in this James Bond?
That's very doable.
Because
very
they did it with
what's
his boy's name? Ralph Fiennes, Voldemort.
What do you mean? Oh yeah.
They introduced M.
They did
without like it was a backhanded M introduction.
So speaking of M, to your point of like, are they going to give it a closing, finale?
Yeah.
They kind of did that when they killed off Judi Dench. Spoiler alert.
That's true. Yeah.
But nobody cared that much. It was a huge moment,
huge.
But it didn't matter to the grand scheme of things of the narrative of like, will Bond continue? Well, who's Bond without M? Well, he's Bond with now this new guy.
Yeah, with new and he's M. He's M also.
Oh, sorry, sorry. But he's R. I was like Ralph R. Yeah.
No, but and the thing is that his name is also starts with M. I can't remember what it is, but it is something like that. And he's great. I love who can't love Ralph Fiennes? He's amazing, right?
Yeah.
Especially when he tells Andrew, what's his name, the Moriarty. I can't remember.
Nope.
And he's Moriarty is being Moriarty in Skyfall, and then he's like, "You're a cocky little bastard, aren't you?" Which I love. Is my favorite line. And I was like, the moment he said that, I was like, you are my M now.
But yeah, so like even though the M is gone, it didn't stop momentum at all. So I feel like in that same vein, they won't. If you kill Bond, it's like, so what? You know how many times Bond has died?
How many times has Bond died? As in, like,
so
he's not
many
died.
That's the thing. Like, the plot is
reborn.
That Bond has been killed, and then he's gone rogue. He's like, "Oh, you're back." He's like, "Of course I'm back. I'm Bond.
With a
you can't kill me."
facelift.
Yeah, exactly. Like Daniel Craig died in at the beginning of what was it? Quantum? No. There was a train thing, and like he fell and he got shot.
No. That's it's in Skyfall.
That was Skyfall. There you go.
Yeah,
Boom. Yeah. So I mean, like, killing Bond is not really. It's not a satisfying thing because it's like, okay, so who's the next guy?
Yeah,
it's like he's replaceable.
So, but I feel like people get emotionally attached to the.
No,
to
absolutely.
But
I'm just gonna put I'm just gonna put money on the new Bond is gonna sort of again shake things up and recontextualize them.
I hope they introduce it in the film.
For the 2020
it would be interesting.
generation.
I feel like X-Men Apocalypse had an opportunity there. When they are fighting, when they see Hugh Jackman as Wolverine in the night, they could have introduced the new Wolverine there, and they didn't. Yeah. But they could do this in this film.
They could.
Yeah. The World Is Not Enough has my favorite title in dialogue line.
Okay.
What
is the set? What is the
where Sophie Marceau, who has not been in anything since.
Yeah,
like, not too many things.
So she's literally just a really beautiful model.
Yeah,
and that's all.
And she says, "James, I could have given you the world," and he says, "The world is not enough." I don't know. That's my best.
What the hell was that?
The world is not enough. No, I don't know. I want to try my best. My best Irish accent.
One more time.
The world is not enough, Paddy. So I went full.
So this episode is both misogynist and racist. Amazing.
It's not misogynist. We are
literally comparing how hot girls are. That is literally what we're doing.
But that's not the basis of which our ranking is happening. I want to be absolutely clear. We are just talking about them in terms of like how awesome they were in every movie and how effective they were as roles. If their seduction is a part of their role, then that's just the way it is.
You are right. I will also cover my ass by saying, on behalf of Geek Food, we apologize for the misogyny.
We're not being misogynist, man.
But
we are not the people. One second. Everybody who's listening, we are not the guys you need to come after. Just find the real culprits here, please. Anyway.
So who's hotter?
Who's hotter?
We didn't answer the question.
It's an opinion thing, right?
An opinion thing.
Sophie Marceau is really cute in this movie.
Special place in my heart because I haven't seen her anywhere else.
Yeah.
But to that end, what happened to Denise Richards? She was on like 2.5 Men, right? And then what happened to her?
Well, she's married to Charlie Sheen, that's why, right?
Is she still married to Charlie Sheen?
Nothing is married to Charlie Sheen for too long.
Can anything stay married to Charlie Sheen?
And she was in Wild Things, the movie that made me an adult after I watched it as a 13-year-old boy.
Oh, God. Right.
Yeah.
But nothing since 2.5 Men, right? I haven't heard anything about her.
I don't think she needs to do anything. Charlie Sheen is one of the richest paid actors in the world.
True.
I mean, for when he was on 2.5 Men at least.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So,
good movie.
Great movie. The villain
Yes.
in that is also really cool. I can't remember his name, but I remember
Submarine
the premise.
Man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's got a bullet lodged in
Yep.
his brain,
Yep.
so he can't feel any pain.
Yep.
That's one
Pretty
of Kendrick's rhymes coming up in the next Bond. He's got a bullet lodged in his brain. He can't feel no pain. I've done terrible accents throughout this
Amazing.
episode. Yeah, bold is not enough. What do you think of the plot? We should rank the plots.
So remind me the premise of this one. It wasn't that strong.
There's an oil. I remember
Something about oil.
there's an oil, like it's a pipeline, right?
Yeah.
Remember?
So Christmas is the one who's like the scientist in charge of the thing.
Worst name ever.
Yeah.
Christmas Jones?
Jones, right? Yeah, that was
Something
it.
like that?
Yeah. So she's in charge of the pipeline, and Bond has to go and use the pipeline to get into the system, right?
No,
like he goes through the pipeline.
He wants to. I think the villain wants to stop this pipeline from happening because it'll.
Hey, this is where
transfer.
Bhavesh Joshi got its thing from, no?
Yeah. Yes. No.
Anyway.
But anyway, destroying a pipeline has been part of people's agendas for years.
People do all the
Also,
time.
interesting enough, if you see the arcs of the villains, or at least where they come from, like in the first one, GoldenEye, it's like Russian, or at least it's Sean Bean, but they have a big Soviet kind of involvement.
Right.
And then it kind of starts to shift. It got a little more woke, and they stopped picking on the Russians after the Cold War, which is interesting.
Yeah,
because most of the Bond villains have been like, either like in the beginning it was, it was mostly Soviet, like Cold War stuff, right? And now it's like kind of moved on. Then there was
after the giant tank chase scene in GoldenEye, I think they were like, okay, let's chill on this.
Ease
which was
up.
such an amazing scene.
It's great.
So good.
Yeah, dude, one of my favorite sequences in GoldenEye is the first one where he takes the plane to take off from the Soviet base and he misses it. And he's on a bike, so he follows the plane as it crashes,
jumps into the thing.
Dude, that could be race 4. But that's how far we've progressed. Anyway.
Besides the villain, the plot line not that great. But
none of these plot lines are exceptional, except for I think I like GoldenEye.
I like GoldenEye.
Tomorrow Never Dies.
Yeah, like I said, Tomorrow Never Dies might be my favorite.
Yes,
but
same.
The World Is Not Enough did set up my boy Rubeus quite well. That was his shining moment.
So tell us about this.
It's like the caviar. It was a caviar factory or some shit.
And he dips him inside the upside down.
Yeah. So it's basically he has his Terminator 2 ending moment where he's like melting in caviar, and the dude's he pulls him out. He's like, okay, fine, I'll tell you where the thing is, and blah blah blah. I mean,
I'm the gamekeeper.
Yeah, basically. I mean, like it's nothing profound, but it's one of the best comedic set pieces.
Yeah, he's a good comedic actor.
Yeah. Also, Brosnan, I think, does consistently the best casino scenes.
Yeah,
all
he
card
does.
game
all
scenes.
the card game scenes. He's got a solid poker face.
While Casino Royale, obviously, it's in the friggin' title, and it's one of the big, like most pivotal moments of the movie.
And that scene has Mads Mikkelsen, which is a different thing altogether.
I do want to mention that I'm not taking away from Casino Royale's amazingness of how the cards seem involved in the plot, but. Again, Daniel Craig at the poker table doesn't seem as suave as not poker table, whatever they're playing.
Yeah, poker.
Poker?
It's Texas Hold'em.
Yeah, doesn't fit as well as.
Oh, Pierce Brosnan playing poker or something. Baccarat. They're playing Baccarat they're playing Baccarat in GoldenEye.
Are you sure?
When he beats on a top.
# facts.
My favorite one is I think he play in Die Another Day. He plays in Havana or wherever he is. Is that him? No, sorry, I'm still mistaking it for Daniel Craig. That's good.
Should we move on to the Die Another Day?
Anything else to say about The World Is Not Enough?
It's not.
I guess that's what it. Let's move on quickly. Die Another Day. Now, I want to start by saying this movie was trashed.
Yeah.
Nobody liked it. Nobody wanted the gratuitous Madonna cameo.
Yep.
I loved all the things that people hated about this movie. I love all of this movie. I don't care for the plot as much.
Yeah.
But because it's
not
Gustav Graves is not he tried to be like the most British of all villains. With his like little he tried to be his own version, like anti-Bond in this. I do like some moments in this film which I think stand out. Like they're still amazing. One is I think Pierce Brosnan, because I think he knew maybe this might be his last. He's so like, I don't give a damn. He's so cavalier in this. He's amazing. He's like peak Bond. He's peak Pierce Brosnan, James Bond in this, obviously. And he's got some great scenes. I like the introduction of the film also. I thought that was really cool. He's basically been a POW for a while, and he gets traded back to the MI6 because they want to release somebody. And that's really cool. That plot line is really cool because for two reasons. In the torture sequence when he's still a prisoner of war, we get the amazing electronica Die Another Day track by Madonna. And second of all, when he exits the he gets traded back to the British intelligence, he comes out with the most splendiferous beard ever, which then leads to the most shameless product placement for Philips, where he shaves his beard in the hotel. And I loved it. It's great. He walks into the hotel very famously in just like, he's just swum across some river and basically comes in his just pajamas and he's just looking like he doesn't give a f***. It's amazing. Oh yeah, great. I love Pierce Brosnan.
I will say that it does bug me now that you've reminded me of how meh that plot was.
Yeah. It's about the Icarus.
Yeah, that was
the satellite,
right?
And but it does have another great sequence in this film, which is where the Aston Martin is reintroduced into the Bond lore.
When he's on ice.
When that ice chase sequence is fucking cool, and here's why. It's shot really well. I think cameras also doing a really good job. The really good high resolution, capturing it on the ice, and looks really nice. And then there's one scene which is just like a gadget battle. Okay, they're shooting missiles at each other, and something happens where he flips the car, like the Aston Martin Vanish, which they call the Vanquish, which they call the Vanish. It goes upside down, and he's shooting a missile at him, the diamond face guy. And James Bond, just looking so cool, he opens the sunroof, press the ejector seat, and boom, the car's back on its head.
Yep.
Amazing. So well done. I love that. And Halle Berry and Rosamund Pike, Gone Girl, Crazy Girl, Gone Girl.
Rosamund Pike, that's who that was. I was wondering who that other one was.
She plays Miranda Frost.
Right.
And Halle Berry plays Jinx, because she's bad luck for people. Right.
I will say one of the highlights of the movie is just like the very ending 30 seconds, I think, of that film.
When it's over, it's good.
One of the best gags is one of the most Bondy gags.
That is how Pierce Brosnan exited the franchise.
His final moment as Bond is him like taking time off, and like the guys back at base at MI6 like, yeah, where's Bond? Oh, he's doing his own thing. They're like, oh, let's just like check on him, make sure he is where he says he is. Like, yeah, like look at this satellite image of like heat sensitive
thermal
imaging.
They've established only on the film, okay, because his car is invisible.
Thermal image scanning, and they see him like lying on a bed, like, oh, there he is, and then it's like, oh, and there are 3 legs. Oh, now there are 4. Oh, that's another. Okay.
Yeah. That's how he checks out, man. That's what James Bond does.
Yeah.
That's all he do.
Yeah.
So, Die Another Day, Madonna track, Madonna cameo. Love it. It's amazing.
I'm sure you do. I know you do.
It's there's such terrible dialogue in this movie where he's just like, have you been something, basically like all penis analogy, and he's just like, I've been known to keep my tip up.
Is that a line?
That's what they say in this movie.
I've been known to keep my tip up.
Yeah, when they're fencing, basically. There's a whole fencing sequence.
Yeah, because
you can't do a good action sequence.
You can't do a fencing scene without a penis joke.
And with Madonna in it.
You just can't.
I don't know why. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, that's
cool.
That's the thing.
Should we wrap this mother up?
Let's do that.
So,
ranking.
Go.
Favorite Bond out of all these films? James Bond. Pierce Brosnan. He's my favorite. That's what I've realized.
James Bond as opposed to Kishore?
No.
Like what?
Oh yeah, that's another mistake I made in the previous episode.
What?
I said the James Bond theme has come from a Gujarati play. That's where the dum 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 dum, which is...
Wait, what was that theme again?
Okay.
One more time?
It's the... You know what it is. Right, I'm sure you've heard of it. Anyway,
do the beginning again.
Shut up. Anyway, so I said it was from a Gujarati play. It's not from a Gujarati play, but it is from a play that was written by V.S. Naipaul set in Trinidad, which is where a lot of Indians went as slaves a long time ago. So I was not completely incorrect in saying that it's a Indian theme, as in like it came from an Indian origin writer.
So you're talking about the dun, 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 like that.
Go again? I didn't hear it.
Okay.
But yeah. So so that's where it's from, and that was a bit of trivia that we messed up in the last one, but I was not totally incorrect. However, James Bond's my favorite in this one.
Oh, good. I'm glad
Pierce Brosnan's my favorite. Okay, favorite Bond girl. Go. In the last
Girl?
one, yeah.
Oh,
Favorite Bond.
between Halle
Halle and...
holds a special place. Always Halle Berry.
Yeah.
But are we just talking about...
not Madonna? So she wins this entire thing as far as I'm concerned. But anyway.
Probably Sophie Marceau.
And I'll say Famke.
Good.
Because I love Jean Grey.
That's no, we got that out of the way.
Oh shit,
the movies?
Hatcher. Okay.
Oh no, the songs.
The songs. Okay,
Favorite
the
song
songs.
of the four?
It's Tomorrow Never Dies for me, man. Yeah, it's too good.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah, Tomorrow Never Dies.
I mean, considering that your heroes wrote the GoldenEye theme, but I don't think Tina Turner, she tried
she nailed it.
She nails it, but like I feel like it was still...
You know the thing with the GoldenEye song for me though is that every time I think of
GoldenEye, you finally found him. Golden chain.
Okay, it is my favorite. I was gonna. It's like it's.
There's actually
a
really good part, and it's just like where she goes like, "You never know how I watch you from the shadows of the night." I love that part. That's a really good part. And then there's another key change. Oh, it's a good song. It's a great song. Tomorrow Never Dies is my favorite though. Moving on. Favorite villain. Give me a favorite villain.
Sean Bean.
Sean Bean?
Yeah.
Not Jonathan Price?
As a close second.
Something Carver? I can't remember his name. Victor?
Yeah. Elliot Carver.
Elliot. You're right.
Yeah, okay. You know what? Let's go with him.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, at least he stays villain for longer. You know what I mean? Sean Bean is great.
Oh, there's a good ending line
But Sean Bean is
also.
barely there. He's not in it that much.
He's only at the end.
So I have to give it.
But he's got a good line at the end. And there's a good line to get rid of Elliot Carver as well, where he says, "You forgot the first thing about news, Elliot. Give the people what they want." And then he shoves them into this like weird chain,
it's
like saw thing.
Yeah, such a cartoony ending. It's great. It's great.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Are those all the...
And yeah, I suppose.
Favorite set piece?
The Tomorrow Never Dies. We already said that.
Which one?
The Tomorrow Never Dies one where it's between the bike chase and the the remote control car. I love that sequence. That's a great.
It's either the remote control car or for me it might be the tank. In
the tank, yeah.
The tank is just hilarious.
It's just it's good fun.
Just so funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, they both involve cars.
Not the one where he's surfing with a paraglide in Die Another Day in the first scene. That was really bad. It was bad graphics also.
Yeah.
No.
Die Another Day was just it felt phoned in.
Yeah.
Probably was.
It probably was. Most of them are.
Cool. That's the show.
That's it. Let us know which is your favorite James Bond, Pierce Brosnan James Bond film, and maybe we can do this into a series where we review all the other Bonds.
Inevitably, somebody this entire time has been like clenching their teeth and going, "You guys are wrong about everything." So please tell us.
Tell us why we are wrong
and why you're right, and why you are right about.
Hey man,
everything.
we made well on the facts.
That's what we like to believe.
Here's another fact for you.
Until tomorrow.
Martin Campbell, who directed GoldenEye, made The Foreigner with Jackie Chan and Pierce Brosnan. There you go. We're going to end with a fact tonight.
If somebody can tell me if it's broccoli or not, I'd love to know.
And Michael G. Wilson.
Yeah.
All right. That's our show. Let us know on social media at GeekFruitHQ or mail us contactgeekfruit@gmail.com. And that's really what you might
Denise
say.
Richard.
See you later, you nerds.
Brosnan.
Did you know that Parsis in Mumbai, instead of being left at the Tower of Silence after they die, are now cremated? And why? Because a cow fell sick in the early 1990s. Did you know that the smog in Delhi is caused by something that farmers in Punjab do and that there's no way to stop them? Did you know that there wasn't one gas tragedy in Bhopal, but 3? One of them was seen, but 2 were unseen. Did you know that many well-intentioned government policies hurt the people they're supposed to help? Why was demonetization a bad idea? How should GST have been implemented? Why are all our politicians so corrupt when not all of them are bad people? I'm Amit Verma, and in my weekly podcast, The Seen and the Unseen, I take a shot at answering all these questions and many more. I aim to go beyond the seen and show you the unseen effects of public policy and private action. I speak to experts on economics, political philosophy, cognitive neuroscience, and constitutional law so that the insights can blow not only my mind, but also yours. The Seen and the Unseen releases every Monday. So do check out the archives and follow the show at seenunseen.in. You can also subscribe to The Seen and the Unseen on whatever podcast app you happen to prefer.
How many times have you motivated yourself to improve your sleep, or lose weight, or be more productive? How many times have you failed? Hi, my name is Ashton Doctor. Tune into my show, The Habit Coach Podcast, where we focus on creating small, tiny habits to improve your life instead of those big, impossible tasks. So make listening to me a habit every Monday, Wednesday and Friday on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com or on your favorite podcasting app.